Hello and welcome back to the Spincast, or if this is your first time here, I'm Brian Kellison. Did I race or I didn't race? I know. Well, no, I was going to intro you. Lisa Reese.
Okay, that's
yeah, of course. Come on. I know. I'll get the full intro. And not with us tonight is Brian Marblehead 9 White. Still not feeling well. I think he picked up a little cold or sickness, but he's also recovering from his knee surgery. And Lisa Reese. From the northern Yukon. No, you're not in the northern Yukon. Where are you? You're in
like
British
Southern
Columbia.
BC.
Yeah, you're in British Columbia, the Canadian contingency. Yes, we are going to try to figure out a few things tonight. The main thing is really, I think the deep dive is Zwift categorization. I think a lot of the Zwift racers, and it's kind of set the standard, right, for lack of a better sort of standardization, is the A, B, C, D categorization has become the standard or the norm, right? So are you a Cat A racer? Are you a Cat? And instead of like where I race outside in the United States, it's professional, categories 1 through 5. It used to be 5, but now it's called novice. But that's the sort of categorization, and it's pretty clear. It's results based, right? Clear as day. Like you start out as a 5 or novice, you get some experience, you do that sort of thing. You get good or you get better. You gain experience and points, right? So you're applying these points to then essentially upgrade to 4, 3, 2, so forth. All right. So I'm currently a category 2 racer outside, based on my results, right? And I'm also a masters racer, so I can race 35 plus, 45 plus. But the race yesterday, so Zwift race yesterday, the Echelon Racing League kicked off yesterday. First race, which was the Bell Lap. This is a race series that has been put on the last couple of years by the Echelon Racing promotions. It's also a pro continental team, Project Echelon Racing, but they also do the Echelon Racing League, and Eric Hill and Frank Cundiff, the guys that kind of run it, started it. And they were on the Zwift community live broadcast at the tail end of the category A race. And Eric Hill came on and he's like, it kind of started because he races outside and he had a team and the pandemic hit and we wanted to race inside or race whatever, e-racing, e-cycling, however we want to call it, to kind of promote who we are, because there's sponsorships behind it, but there's also a very good cause, Project Echelon. I believe it works with wounded or combat military. I don't want to like paraphrase something that we should actually look it up and get the clarity on it, and we'll get to that. But the essence of it is they were very fit riders, very fit racers, and there was nothing to really do. So they're like, hey, maybe we can make a series. And they started that. So that's a sort of quick little background. Now they've done this. This is at least the third year that I've done it. I did it in 2022. I did it in 2023, 2021/2022, 2022/2023, and now it's the 2023/2024. There you go. There's all the details, right? First race kicked off. The Bell Lap, 38 kilometers, 20 laps. Okay. First question of the night. Did I actually race it?
We don't know. Yes and no. We saw it. We all witnessed it.
And yeah, if those of you that didn't witness it, I currently believe I did race, but in the results, I was, we're going to get into it now.
Go ahead. The results up. You got a big old WKG.
Yeah. So what is that, Lee? Explain to the audience. What does WKG mean?
You exceeded your class's watts per kilogram threshold. You got a big old 2 1 minute 4.4 here.
Okay.
And this is where it starts to get interesting.
Yeah. This is where, okay. So let me before you get into the details of what this is, let me explain my mentality and who I am, right? I previously raced as an A because I had these numbers, right? This is the old whatever category, it was categorization. Before there was sort of like auto categorization. I'm a huge proponent for racing up, race up. Like everyone's talking to me, race up. And I took some time off from the Zwift because I was racing RGT and I was doing other things, and I just wasn't satisfied with the racing in Zwift. I come back to racing on Zwift. This is before RGT is gone and other things. And I was doing my whoosh. I just race where I want to race. And now it says I'm a Cat B, and I don't go super deep into like learning about like what the new stuff is because I'm so frustrated sometimes with Zwift. So I'm like, I don't want to waste the energy in trying to seek out like, why am I a B now or whatever. But a lot of people in chat and other people, like, because I stream, there's a new auto categorization and it puts you in B. Like it knows me better. Like this is what I thought. I actually thought that, hey, they have more data on me. They're like, hey, you're really a B, because I would always get frustrated, but like I'm in this group of like really strong riders and I'm getting dropped all the time. So that's where my mentality is like, oh, I'm a B. Also, I've also said like, you know, hey, it's their thing. They're saying that I'm a B. Every time I signed up for a Zwift race, C's and D's was blocked out and A and O and B were open, and B usually had more racers. So I was like, I'll do B. I'm a B. It says I'm a B right here on the screen. That's where I'm coming from. It wasn't like I'm trying to be a B. I'm just saying that like, hey, I'm just going to go with what I am now because maybe I've lost fitness, maybe I'm older and I'm on the downward slope of who I am. There you go. That's my story now. Let's get into the science of it.
So after the race, I went on Zwift Power like everyone usually does, because Zwift Power has been, has moved forward where people go, this is where you find results.
Yeah.
Because you can't go on Zwift.com. You can see your own results. Apparently, if you go on, I don't know where my phone went, if you go on the Zwift companion app and pull up your activity, I can see results in the companion app. Can't see it on Zwift.com. It's convoluted. Where do you go? Everyone's always gone to Zwift Power. So I should go up to Zwift Power, be like, everyone's cheering.
That knows about Zwift Power.
Oh, yeah.
I missed the race. It's an opt-in.
I was like, oh, crap, I missed the race. I'm going to go check out Zwift Power. Brian's not in the results. What the heck? Click on the filtered section. Boom, there he is. Him and Mr. Mullins are watts per kg. But the Zwift results, you still won. Here, you're WKG'd.
Yeah.
Which is the official results? No one really knows.
Yeah.
What I do find interesting, though, is they have moved up to use the Zwift ZFTP. I used to say FTP before.
Yeah.
But what's dumb as well, so it says you're in B, then you click on info, and it just says, hey, go to the categorization system.
Yeah, which is the .com thing, which is what we looked at yesterday, because we kind of did a deep dive a little bit yesterday.
And that's where we figured. So there's two ways they measure. ZMAP, ZFTP. You went over B class in ZFTP, but you didn't go over in ZMAP. So that triggered something. But everywhere you look, even though you got DQ'd on this particular race, it's not a DQ, you got a WKG.
Yeah.
You're still a B. So can you still go in
B's?
No,
I can't. I confirmed it today.
Oh,
I streamed. No, so on Zwift.com. So if you go into Zwift.com, or you go into find me, this is weird. You can't go see. So this is probably a data, like a privacy thing. Like you can't go look on somebody else's profile other than what they publicly allow you to look at. But when I went in and logged in under the Zwift.com profile, and then it goes on the right hand side, because you asked me to, hey, send me the graph, right? Send me the graph of the thing of like, this is your ZFTP. Now that says A. And when I went to log in, when I went into log in and I went to ride today in Zwift, A was only available for me. So there was like 3 races and they all had like 2 people in them. And I'm like,
It
oh,
must
great.
entirely be a privacy thing because no one else can see that except you.
Yeah, and I guess if I log in now that it's updated me. So whatever I sent, whatever. So here's the thing: is Zwift did the update, and then Zwift Power is pulling the data that Zwift said I've been updated. So it didn't pull me from Zwift.com's results. It didn't watch KG me there. I'm still number one, like you said.
Yeah.
But the results from the Echelon Racing League, they go by Zwift Power. Because and I don't blame them. Everyone is signed up and everyone's registered and everyone's validated through the verification process that they want. So they know that there's no random non-opt-in, that you have to opt in and set up your Zwift Power, because that's the results that are used for this series. And so I'm not protesting. This is me. I a WKG. That's what I get. I already, like, immediately happened when I went and I looked at Zwift Power, because I was going to upload my dual analysis, which is available, which is what you're looking at right now if you're looking at the video. Because I'm fully disclosure. I'm like, hey, I emailed Eric and Frank, and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. I guess I am an A, and I apologize or whatever. And they're like, oh no, you went by your categories. And then the WKG thing hit, and they're like, oh yeah, then you probably. And so I was like, okay. So I went back into Bike Reg and I changed my category. So I'm racing in an A now. So in 2 weeks, on the 16th, I'll be racing in the A's. But that, aside from that, the Zwift Power is where everyone kind of goes. Everyone's a sort of competitive racer goes there. It's not updated there. It still says B, right? This is not an auto-categorized event as well. So I have to choose the link that's sent and provided to me. I chose to race B because I signed up as a B, because I had been under the impression that I was a B and all my numbers still said I was a B. So I was going to race the Bs. I then go out and race. I do the race. I do a hard effort and I successfully win, right? That whatever 20 plus minute effort, which I felt good because I'm building towards another goal, which is the E-Nationals Championships on January 6th. But that flagged me for this race. We talked about this offline. If I went 18 minutes out and got away and was in a breakaway or whatever I did and stayed away, would I not have the WKG?
That's the thing, is you did not sandbag very well at all. And that is entirely why you got upgraded.
Yeah.
You hit 4.4 for 20 minutes. And if you stayed under that, you would have been fine. So
yeah. So I didn't.
Sandbagger.
So this goes back into the strategy of. So we'll go into like the race breakdown, right? So I'll sprinkle in the race breakdown stuff of what I thought my thought process was. It was like, okay, we're gonna roll. Yeah, go ahead.
As I say, we celebrate upgrades. So in no part, if anyone's listening, that we're like, oh, too bad you got WKG.
Oh, I'm not mad. No, I'm not mad.
That's fantastic.
Just, yeah.
You're like,
no, I'm not mad.
Like,
yeah.
Anyone that moves up, it's fantastic.
I really feel bad for the event, because it's like the two people that broke away and had a really good, exciting broadcast for Zwift Community Live. It was good for the B races to have some action instead of just everyone sitting in the blob and doing all that stuff. That's the way I like racing. I like trying to get a breakaway, because my person that I knew the most was Ned Bowen, who actually won the sprint, the bunch sprint, because he smoked me. He smoked me before. So I'm like, hey, I'm trying to get away. I tactically was like, hey, because Ned went away a little early in the early part of the thing, and two other people. It was a couple. The BMTR rider, he went away in like lap 3 or 4 or something like that. And then I think I went at I was like, okay, I'll go at lap 5, and then kind of brought us back. Ned came with me, did that. They brought us back. And then we were kind of just sitting there, kind of just chilling. And I was like really like recovering. Like I recovered really well. And I even said that in the race. I think it's like, this is like a Cat 3 race. It's like they're just letting me recover or something like that. That's what I was at least mentally thinking. I'm like, okay, well, I'll go at 10. I'll do 5, 10 and see what happens. I was just thinking laps. I wasn't thinking time. I'm not a good sandbagger. The math is not, hey, I wasn't thinking like, oh, if I go at this time, it'll be 20 minute less than 20 minutes, whatever. I wasn't even, seriously, I should have, if I was smart enough, I would have thought that way. I was just thinking, oh, at lap 10, I'll go. What I did is I went on lap 10, I pushed the pace just a little bit going through the start finish. And then we kind of rode around. And then lap 11, because it's like a weird number, most people maybe not thinking like, oh yeah, that's when I went. And then I kind of waited for Mullins, and then we stayed away, and I kept pushing the pace. Like anytime there was an incline, I pushed the pace, push the pace, push the pace. There's two things that also happened. And if you go to the Zwift Community Live broadcast, watch the replay, you'll see they're on me. They're on this. It's a 2-up. It's me on the Zwift or on the Zoom and on Zwift. And they're like seeing me lean over. I'm typing a message because I'm with Mullins, and Mullins isn't really pushing the pace. And I'm like, dude, they're going to catch us if you don't push the pace. Like I'm pushing 4+ watts, whatever it was. I was like, dude, you got to push more. Right. So that the two of us can work together. And
he's like, no, I'm going over. I'm going over 4.4.
And the Rosendahl guy said that in chat. And I didn't really, I just kind of blew it off. I'm like, what the hell? Oh, maybe this guy is a sandbagger or whatever. He didn't. He came with me. But that's the sort of claim. That's the negative thing that I got from the race, was this sort of like, oh, he's trying to keep it. I'm like, dude, F that. We're in a race. Go hard. Now, the other thing that happened in the race, I want to touch on this, is we lapped a rider. This guy, he was like, he had a long name, but he had Arkansas in his name. And they talked about it in the broadcast on other people, like, hey, lapping a rider and stuff like that. We would push through some of the riders. But this one guy, he had been lapped, I don't know how many times, but maybe he got lapped once. And he was kind of riding with us, and he was like sitting in and helping the draft. And I typed, I'm like, Arkansas, fall back or move back. And he sort of fell off. He lowered his power and he fell off, because that's not fair. I don't think that's fair play. The getting a lapped rider and then sitting in the draft and getting a rest and having them help pull you. No. So, because that's the way it is outside. It's like if you lap a rider, they neutralize you. They tell
yelled at for that.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if you hang off the back of the group, if you've been lapped because you just want to finish, stay in the back. That's totally cool. But when you're going in the front, you're mixing things up and you're altering the outcome of the race. I disagree with that. I don't think that that's something you should do. You should go to the back and just hang out and just get the free draft and finish the race, and you can get your workout in and all that other stuff. But don't go to the front and do rotations or help people in a breakaway when you've been lapped. Just stay out of the mix. Now, I'm going hard after lap 11 and pushing, and I was just like, dude, I'm just trying to keep the gap. That's it. That's all I was thinking. Keep the gap. And about lap 16, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to get caught. I seriously went hard because this is a race that I really care about, right? So there's a lot of training races or competitive or casual stuff. We've talked about this before in a previous episodes. Casual versus competitive. This is a competitive for me. This is like, I really care about this. So I'm going to go all out. This is where I feel bad, is I go all out and it bites me because I was in the wrong category. So I'm going to Cat A's. I'm probably going to go all out, and I'm going to be 30th place, which is fine. But I have other goals. But that's the sort of thing, is like, I think because of my previous, if you look at, in Lee, you brought this up too, the 3 races that I just did. Like, if you look at the numbers for the 3 races, your
averages for the first and third race are within 1 watt.
Yeah.
But your watts per kg is 0.2 less.
Yeah.
You shut her down on that one.
Yeah. So now the next question is, I know we have a list of questions and we haven't touched on all of them, but is this the correct way to categorize people in Zwift? Fitness-based / 20-minute effort-based, ZFTP and whatever ZMAP. Isn't MAP maximal output or something power? Maximal.
Yeah. Before we get too far into it, I do want to say your dual recording looks amazing.
Thank you.
Like
the power pedal. Yeah. This is
the tracks. I actually don't think I've ever seen a dual recording that tracks this perfect with all the tiny little ups and downs.
Yeah. This is really good. This is Wahoo. This is the Wahoo. Yeah, these are new Wahoo pedals. It actually was even tighter with my Kicker V5 and my previous speed plays, because the speed plays I got warranted. But I just let a teammate borrow my V5. But this is like pretty close. I was just talking to somebody from Wahoo, and they're like, "This looks pretty good." I'm like, "I know. I loved how close they were when it was the previous pedals, but these pedals are that." So this is how you do dual power, right? And then I immediately did this. I like sent it to them, and they have no issue on you're not who you are. It's I was in the wrong category for what the argument is now is I can't race Bs anymore because they are auto categorizing me up. But is that correct? Is fitness non-results based ranking good at this day and age of all the results based stuff that we have out there, which is the Zwift, which is Zwift race? Is that Zwift ranking or Zwift racing.app? I can't remember what that is. But now we're going to get into the weeds, but that's the sort of question we pose. Hopefully we can answer that. And I might have my own answer on that. I'll give you my answer. I don't think fitness based categorization is very good. I don't like it at all. But
no, honestly, as a person who toils away in the C division, I don't think it has any place in racing, honestly. No other racing is category based, based on level. I mean, when I go to the local cyclocross races, I'm in the Masters men's division. Yeah. I'm racing against A pluses, A's, B's, C's, D's. You know what? I come mid-pack. I actually beat some A's and B's, due to some bike handling skills. But in general, I think if they were to implement results-based, basically it's not results-based. Everyone races together all the time. There's one mass start pin. At the end of the race, you get filtered through of sort of the ladder points, whether you've moved up, whether you've moved down.
You mean like a race together scored separately?
Yeah. So what it would be is, I mean, you could do results based in a way of like Cat 4, 3, 2, 1. You get points, you move up to Cat 2, and then you race against other Cat 2s. But I mean, being an esport, I could see a full ladder system. Everyone mass starts, everyone races. The race is weighted by how competition, how much competition is in that race. You do well in a race, you move up. You don't move up per se, but you move up the ladder. So you could go onto a website, no third parties. It would be on Zwift.com, and it would have rankings. Now, it's not a perfect system, but I think it would be mayhem for the first little while, because as people get sort of sorted through to their category, you are going to have people with no race results racing in the lower division and crushing the lower guys.
Right.
Because they have to work their way up to the higher competition.
Yeah.
But to me, it would get rid of sandbagging. You can't sandbag in a system like that. If you sandbag, you win, and then you move up.
Yeah.
You cheat, you win, you move up. The thing with cheaters is cheaters don't want to lose to drop back down to a lower category. And then eventually cheaters would cheat their way to the top, where there's like dual recording, verification, heart rate monitors, and then they're going to be, caught.
Yeah. It's not a perfect, it'd be great. That's the goal. I think that's the goal as I, go back and forth in my head before I answer something. The goal is to have a perfect system. Whether that actually will exist or not, we don't know, but I think we're working towards it. And I think even something that you and Brian brought up with like a post from James Bailey, I believe, and he's saying, hey, in the early first part of the year, we're going to move our categorization to something else. Now, I'm quoting something that might be a rumor, that might be hearsay, that might be a fake account. I don't know. But like I said before, when I answered, do I believe fitness-based categorization is a good thing? I still don't think so, but I think it could be an element to finding a proper ranking or categorization. It should be a data point, you know. Because that's the thing, is like once I'm a 2, like when I race outside, I can't race in the 4s anymore. Like I can't just race in a 3-4 race. I have to race in a 1-2-3 race if I race masters. So a lot of times, because the fields are bigger, I race in the 1-2 races, and then I can do a 1-2-3, and there's 3 races, or there's 3 riders that are racing with 1s and 2s. But at that point, you know, everyone's kind of fitness centric, and so we're all kind of there. But like, I can't go back down to the 4s and 5s and go smoke the new riders. That's where it's like Zwift kind of has to know, hey, you're somebody who's super fit and strong, even though you're new. That's the thing. I think that's the thing, is where it's like, hey, we don't have much data on you, but we know, like, let's say we have one data point, which is your fitness. That's where we're going to give you, oh, you're strong, you're an A, instead of going in and learning to smoke the D's and the C's, to go, oh yeah, dude. And then 90 days later, I think that's what it says. It's like 90 days, right? Yeah, it's right there. Previous 90 days can only race in pace group E, right? So they need 90 days of data. There's people that are just like signing up now, and they're like, you know, former rowers, and they're smoking everybody, and they're like, oh, well, I'm a C or a B.
And there's a lot of people that don't ride Zwift in the summer, and so they'd be going into the winter or fall training season with their 90 days expired.
Yeah.
You know, and I just think
that's what happened to me. My 90 days, I think my 90 days expired, right?
Like, I'm a D. I haven't truly raced, so I'm actually classified in the D category. But as someone who's been a lifetime, you know, C, I've raced 5 seasons of ZRL as a C, and I find the lower divisions are the worst for sandbagging. If you're a natural A, you're racing the A's.
Yeah.
It is way too easy in the C's to sit in, go easy, and then do a 4-minute effort and go off the front.
So here's the thing about the fitness thing that I have an issue with, is you train hard and race smart. You use your fitness that you have built from the training to then conserve it and use it in a different way in a race, right? So it's like, I used my strategy of, hey, I want to get in a breakaway. You know, people know me, like, there's no secret to it. Like, I love getting a breakaway. I want to get a breakaway. I feel comfortable in my time trialing ability as a time trialist. If I can get in a breakaway, or I can initiate a solo break or something, my results will be better suited for that. Where I've trained hard for that, and now I do a race, and it's hindering me because I can't. I'm knocked for doing a strategy, instead of people that are like sitting in and they're really, really strong, and they just sit in and they're like, oh, I'm just in this category because I don't do the thing that pings me, which is the sandbagging part. Right. So there's ones that are cognizant of it, and there's people like me who are just, you know, ignorance is bliss. When it's time to go hard, you go hard, Brian. Okay. Well, and that yesterday was the go hard day.
The only thing that we find with Zwift racing, because it is category based, you do call out people for sandbagging. Mm-hmm. But in my local crit, if a dude sat in and sprinted for the win, we would be like, awesome strategy, man.
Yeah.
You kick some ass. And so in Zwift, it's like the only racing where, like, dude, you're a sandbagger. You can go over 3.2. Why wouldn't you? Well, no, because racing is about being strategic and not going as hard. Try to cross the finish line with the most amount of energy left and not just destroy yourself.
Yeah. That was the thing. So those were risks that I was willing to take, is to get in a breakaway. And it's like, if you go back to if you have my list of things, is I was doing that in the lead up races, right? There's some races where I was like 4.2 watts per kilo, for 20 minutes, 4.4 watts or 4.5 watts. And the shutting it down part was because I was caught, or the breakaway didn't stay away long enough, right? So my strategy was still continuous. But this one, it stayed away and it worked. And I had somebody who went with me and was willing to work with me, Mullins. Shout out to Mullins.
Well, and the new pack dynamics.
Yeah, and they encourage that. They're encouraging this.
Yeah. Some of these are making me laugh. Our little list here from.
Oh yeah, let's go to our list. Let's go. Do we have any questions from the audience? Is there anybody in the audience or is nobody's paying attention to us? Okay. First question.
Number one. Brian, why are you a sandbagger?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let me answer that. Because that's the way you win.
Like I just said, outside you would winning how you won, you wouldn't be called a sandbagger. It's only sandbagging because people have this impression that you can go harder in Zwift than you actually are. But in real life, no one would ever call that person a sandbagger. So that's why they got rid of that. Is like probably the number one reason to get rid of fitness-based categories.
Yeah.
Because people are sandbagging.
Yeah.
Here's a good question from Alan Lowe. Brian, are you going to approach the A race differently than the B race? Good question.
That is a good question. Not trying to conserve energy. I have to race smarter. So from what I watched on the A race,
got to sandbag harder.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I can go back down to B. No, I'm going to have to be really smart in reading the race, because now I was going to race with my teammates. I had like 4 other teammates that were in the Bs, and I was going to race with them, and now I can no longer race with them. So now I'm racing with either one other person, or that's Eugene, my teammate from outside. I have to make sure, because there's so many next. There's Saris no pins, the restart guys. So like I have to know who's in a break and try to sneak in a break and be like the person that can kind of sit in a break with like these guys that are just like smashing, right? So my strategy, my reading the race has got to be more inclined to tactical stuff than just power. But I approached that with the race yesterday. Like I was reading the race yesterday when I kind of saw like how slow down we would get. Like it got really slow to a certain point where I'm like, man, this is like, we're like really chilling. And like someone's like, we're cruising. And so it was like, okay, attack, see what happens, kind of see who kind of comes with and who will go with. And if Ned wants to go, that was weird to see Ned go. And it was kind of cool because I like Ned. But I know he's going to beat me in a sprint. So if he's in a break with me, I got to figure out how to get rid of him even before the sprint. But then when I was with Mullins and it was like 2 laps to go, every incline. So there's the right turn coming down from the downhill. You do that right turn. It's like a 2% incline before like 400 meters to the finish. I was keeping the pace up, and then the rollers, I was keeping the pace up. So I would go to the front and just pull. And I could see Mullins falling off of me 4-5 meters. I would slow down. He would get back on. So that strategy started to pop into my head of, hey, he's starting to hurt on the incline, even though I'm still pushing these hard efforts. So the last lap, the rollers, I didn't go to the front and push the pace because I knew we had like 4. They shut it down, chasing us. And then I knew that I was going to attack on the last little incline. And that's where I did my big, hard input. You go back and watch the replay, you'll see that. And then I got away and I had the gap. And then I just keep pushing it for whatever it was. It was like maybe a kilometer left. I can't remember exactly how much it was left. And so my strategy is going to change. I'm going to have to approach it in a different way. That's a good question.
It kind of leads into number 2.
Okay.
Please stop trying to break away.
Yeah, so I will probably have to stop trying my breakaways. But this is what happened last year in the first echelon. Usually the first or second. Mason Roca, who was the reigning U.S. national champion, who's a big dude. He's like 6'8", and then Lucas, right? Mason went off on a break. Lucas went off on a break. I think it was like a couple laps into this. It was a big. It was a loop of stuff. It was a circuit race. Oh no, it was a crit. I think it was similar. It was similar to the race yesterday. And Lucas went, and then Mason was going, and I was like, I got to go with these guys. And so I went over, and it was the three of us. It was Mason Roca and Lucas and myself. And I was like just hanging on, but I was willing to push the pace because I was like, look, I'm on a podium in an Echelon Racing League, which Zach Nair is in the back chasing. A lot of the restart guys were chasing. Lucas was on restart, so the restart people weren't going to chase down Lucas. But I will continue to look for breakaway because that's a better opportunity for me than trying to beat, who's the guy that's the Sarah Snowpins sprinter. Canizaro can sprint, I think. Brian Duffy, all these guys. These guys on James Barnes will probably be in the next race if he's healed up.
I've watched a bunch of like Casey Schum's mass start races. He does a really good job where he, as a B, has just enough power to hold at the back of the pack with some of the A's. Yeah. And if you can do that, you can get a pretty decent advantage. And I could see you doing that in an A group. Don't pull. Just sit in the back and let them drag you further away from the other A's.
You can. That's the thing is, and I brought this up at the end of my race yesterday, is everyone's free to come with me in a breakaway. So like as now it's like, oh, I'm upgraded to race with I was racing with these guys last year on the RGT. That was the other thing too, is like categorization in RGT is not a thing. I raced in the A races on RGT. There are categories in Zwift that sort of help guide you. And that's why we're asking the question, is this guidance incorrect or is it flawed, right? Where RGT, I was racing in the A races. I didn't do B races in RGT. Like you can do the B races and do exactly what, like, oh yeah, just smash all the Bs and you're like, oh, I'm just smoking up all the Bs. No, I was racing in the A's and I actually got in a break, used strategy, used power, worked with two guys that were super powerful. I noticed that it was going to be powerful, flat, going hard all the time, and the chasers didn't chase. Now, it was also watts per kilo still. It didn't have the CDA applied, so it was an older physics in RGT, so that played into the three big guys pushing the hard pace. Zwift is different. And so this next race is going to be 3 leg snapper. It's the, the Innsbruck after party. So it's 3 leg snappers in the climb. So like, I am not going to be anywhere near the front of the contention for the placings in this race for sure.
I find Zwift is different, but they've changed recently. And that change, I think, is still confusing a lot of people. No one is willing to, like, you've understood this really quick. You're like, man, pack dynamics. It's new. It's different. Yeah. I'm going for it. And it's working. Where everyone for years is still like, they're scared to get out of the pack.
Because they didn't race RGT.
They didn't race RGT. And then they complain that the pack's not catching. Oh, so you must be sandbagging because the pack's not catching you. But then you look, no one in the pack is working.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what should happen. So it's awesome. And I think it might shift as people start realizing that. And if they see you go, they're going to be like, I need to go with that guy. Otherwise, I'm going to get stuck in the pack.
Yeah. And so I was saying this during my stream, during the race. So I was verbalizing certain things in my mind. I was like, I wish I had a teammate. I wish I had a teammate, or I wish I had teams. Because in the Bs, it's not as team oriented. Where the A's, it's a lot more teams, right? So when you have a breakaway and there's 3 nexts and 2 restarts in there, you're going to have people in the back not chase, because the restarts and the nexts are going to shut it down, right? So like I was saying, I'm off the front with another guy, Mullins. He's not on my team. I'm like, look, this is either going to play out in two ways. One, I'm going to stay away and win or get second. Or if I had a teammate, this is why I was saying I had a teammate or a team, a couple people, is when the catch does occur, counterattack right away, right? Counterattack. And that's the team orientation and the team mentality that doesn't play out in single rider or privateer riding or casual racing in Zwift, because people don't want to give up their energy. People conserve their energy so much when they're racing. Like, people are not willing to spend matches to win races. I've noticed that, and you say, like, I pick it up really quickly. Well, it's because I am unashamed, or I don't care to lose a race trying to win. Where there's other people that are like, I don't want to lose, I don't want to win when I try to do something that I might lose, right?
Oh, it makes total sense.
So I'm willing to go off and do a hard attack and stay out there. Like, dude, I broke away with like half the race to go, like just a little under half the race. It hurt, like really hurt. Like, dude, I had acid reflux for like hours afterwards. Like, I was like, oh, I had my breakfast and I had a cup of coffee, and dude, my throat was burning because it was like a time trial effort, because I was doing a time trial effort, but that's what I did for a race that I really cared about. Right. So that's like really hard for me. And when you're mentally going, I hope they catch me at lap 16 because I don't want to do this anymore. And then I'm thinking, if they catch me at lap 16, can I sit in and try again because I don't think I'm going to win the sprint? Those are things that I'm running in my head.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that don't do that. And that's why hopefully this show, my show, the streaming, the breaking down, the trying things in casual races, doing things and having fun, learning stuff. Yeah, it's less predictable, but you learn about yourself. You learn about the mentality of like, hey, this person didn't work, right? Look, I know there's I'm not going to say his name. There's somebody I raced with a lot, and they had tells, just like I have tells. People probably have notes on me like, oh, he's going to try to break away. He's a breakaway guy. So I try to change things up. It's like poker.
Not a note. We just know.
Yeah, you just know, like, hey, Brian's going to go here. Now, if I don't go and I lose the sprint,
race has been 30 seconds. Breakaway any moment now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, big lull on the thing. But there was a guy I raced with like all the time, and it was clockwork. I knew exactly. So I used that to my advantage, right? Be like, oh, I could do this, and this is what's going to happen. Those are the things that you want to try to avoid giving away a tell, right? But you also want to use that to your advantage. You're like, look, I'm in a race with people, and they kind of know what I'm going to do, but can they react to it, right? That's using it to an advantage. Let's go back to the categories. Does that answer the question? Hopefully it does. Number 3, Zwift really only wants amazing bunch sprints. That was a joke. All right, we're going to get into the serious ones now. Okay. What are the Zwift categories? We touched on that at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Why was it created? So here's the history from there. We needed marble here. So can you break down why there are fitness-based categories in Zwift?
I don't know exactly why there is fitness-based categories, but I do know sort of the need back in the day for Zwift Power, because even to this day, Zwift itself does not have results. You get results as soon as you cross the line. You or I could look at your companion app and look at your activity and see results, but those results are not sort of displayed. And
wait, now or in the past?
No, now you can see.
No, I got the results right here.
Yes, you could never see that. That was never existed at all.
Okay.
And I would say back in the day, I mean, hard to say, but I mean, there was a whole lot more Z power. There was a whole lot more wheel on trainers, and people like results. So Zwift Power was sort of created. Yeah, they want a place where you can go and be like, hey, look, here's all the races. I mean, Zwift Power has every event every 15 minutes. You can look at it and go, wow, look at this guy. And it got away from sort of the, like we were talking about, the personal information. Zwift doesn't like giving
GDPR. So it's like it's a federal regulation. That's the reason why. So were categories, were categories established in Zwift before Zwift Power existed?
I believe so. I believe there always was. I don't know if they were defined by watts per kg, but there definitely was in group rides way back when ED, CBA.
Okay. So that's like, then Zwift Power was created by the community. They started to break down, hey, this race is, or these starting of the race, before there was pens, like people would just meet up. I remember this. I think somebody was on the Zwift cast, like the last Zwift cast. They had somebody who was like, who started the first sort of racing on Zwift, which was like, there was no pins, there was no signups. It was like, you show up onto this palm tree at 5:00 Pacific, and then we're going to race. And then we just kind of gentlemen's or ladies sort of who crossed the line first. That was the sort of the essence of the racing in Zwift, right? And then it grew and grew, and then you could get more data calls and pull that stuff. And then I think they created like the finishing, like Zwift created finish lines. Then you could do that. But the thing that I brought up is like, what was the origin? What was the reasoning for fitness-based categories? Was it just group riding and it spilled into racing?
Zwift is always, I'm going to say you're probably correct on that. Zwift was always never really about the racing.
Okay.
I think it was a way that you could group people to group ride together. Like, hey, you're 3.0, I'm 3.0. Let's do this group ride together because we'll probably ride the same speed together.
Okay.
Then racing started. And then it's like, well, no, I'm 3.0 when we go for a group ride, but in this race, I'm 3.4. And it snowballed into like all hell of.
Yeah, all the mess. So then the third serious topic, I mean, we have a bunch of topics here, but questions we posed to ourselves yesterday while we're coming for the show notes. So when did auto categorization start? So we're just going to say, whether we're wrong or right, I don't know. Let's just say we've always had categories for group riding just to kind of match people's fitness to do good group riding. Now we've evolved that into, hey, we're going to use categories. My goodness, categories into racing, but now we need auto categorization to kind of regulate the sandbagging or the exploitation of one's fitness with, the other riders' fitness. Are you looking it up?
Actually, I am. It's interesting. Okay. It was actually the history of Zwift Power. It started way earlier than I ever thought.
Oh, okay.
Around since 2016.
Let's hear it.
Okay. So I'm just credit to Zwift Insider because part of this is off of their article. But
big shout out to Eric.
Zwift Power was launched in 2016 as a collaboration between Glenn Knight and James Hodges. They ran the servers out of his garage. Doesn't really say why they started it. It just says you weren't a serious Zwift racer unless you were on Zwift Power. And as a serious racer, you knew the breakdown of Zwift Power's FTB-based category. So I'm thinking maybe that became the Zwift Power is the reason that there's watts per kg category.
Oh, really? So
yeah.
Oh, okay, go.
So Glenn and James then signed a contract with Zwift in October 2018, assigning all Zwift power-related intellectual property to Zwift. See, that seems to me like 2018, really? It was that long ago?
Yeah.
And then it says July 2020, Zwift took over the hosting and management of Zwift Power.
It's probably paying for the servers. They
So category enforcement started testing in February of 2022. So we're not that far off. It's almost 2 years. Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. Okay.
Actually, I remember doing those test enforcement.
Yeah, I think Casey was doing it.
Yeah, because they had a chase race
series. Yeah, it was like everyone had the jerseys that was like I think Caleb was doing a race. I think Caleb does those races. Maybe the FRR races are doing that now, where it's like he's in the A's and they got to chase the B's, and the B's. Because
what they were trying to do is they were testing the categorization system with the chase race.
Okay, that's what it was. Yeah.
If it was like true, and those races were actually kind of fun, but I remember that starting up. But I think if you're going to have fitness-based categorizations, you have to have some sort of category enforcement. But do we really need all of it? Do we need fitness-based categories? Then because of that, do we need category enforcement?
Yeah.
If it was all sort of like, say, one big system, you wouldn't really need any of this.
Yeah.
I do appreciate category enforcement.
Yeah.
Like this happened. You can no longer go in the B's your day.
Yeah.
But it still lends to sandbagging because guys can still shut her down.
I'm assuming there's guys in the pack that didn't go in the breakaway with me, sat in, and have the power to sort of move up, to race up.
And I want the people with the power to unleash the power. I want them to be like unhindered because they're worried about categories.
That's my problem. Is free racing, free riding is what we want. We don't want exploiting, flaws in the system, of course, but like I rode free yesterday. I did what I wanted to do. Obviously I was I think it's 4.2 now or 4.3.
Yeah, you were. I'm like
2/10 of a watt per kilo for 20 minutes for this race.
Because the way it decides it doesn't take the snippets of your best and make it one big 20-minute. It's one 20-minute effort. So it takes it takes your effort. So you went over based on that one 20-minute effort. So like I say, if you shut her down at 19 minutes, it probably wouldn't have gone over.
See, that's stupid.
You did
that's stupid.
21 minutes at a very high.
So if they would have caught me, this wouldn't have happened.
Because that's exactly what it shows on your chart. Is when we look at your last two races, you had a race where you averaged 3:45 and you were, 4.2 20 minutes. And you had a race that you were 4.4 and at 3:46.
This falls into that sort of old, I don't know if this still exists, but for ZRL, ZRL, if you're in the B category and you improve throughout the race, you can still race in the B category. You're not auto upgraded.
ZRL gave you, I think, 2 grace period.
Is that races. What it was? Yeah.
And so what they would do is they would typically put 2 very difficult, like that stupid leg schnapper after party race.
Yeah, right.
That'd be like race number 1. Why? Because people were doing 20-minute FTP tests, and in a race, people can't hold themselves. So if you upgraded in the first 2 races, you were moved up.
Yeah.
If you survived the first 2 races and didn't move up, you were allowed to race in that category.
Yeah.
So if you upgraded at race number 4, they're like, you're fine.
Yeah.
Because that does happen. Some people use these races for their fitness training.
Yeah, I did.
Some guys were going,
I got a bump. Yeah, I got a bump.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
some guys go into these.
Yeah, I'm using this to build towards another goal. So that's why I'm not upset.
I was the same way. I never got close. I mean, I got close to B once, but I was getting better numbers every single race towards, it's an 8-week series. That's
Yeah.
2 months. You can't expect to go hard 1 day a week plus other riding for 2 months and not get better.
Yeah. Unless you're, you're squeezing the little bit of it. Okay, so let's move on to where should we be looking to find your data to know where you should race if not an auto-categorized race? This is what we just talked about, is like Echelon is not auto-categorized. Where do you look? Do you look on Zwift Power? Because that's where the results are. Or do you look on Zwift.com? Right? This is a public service announcement. Go to Zwift.com and look under your whatever power grid thing on the right-hand side. And it'll say
ultimately your profile is where you would look.
Because we were constantly looking. I'm like, every time I would stream, I'd be like, I'm still a B, because Zwift Power was saying I was still a B. So that's where I was looking. I wasn't looking at Zwift.com because nobody looks at Zwift.com for
here's mine. Here's my profile. There it is. Suggested category D.
That's where we look. That's where you look, everyone. If you're on, so on the video screen, where do you go here? You go under. So if you log into
Zwift.com, it's your activity feed. Yeah. Has your goals, has your name, has your profile.
On the right-hand side of the column. Yeah. Then there's a fitness. There's a little fitness section. And you hit more info, and it'll twill down and it'll show you suggested category. And that's where you should be seeing, like, you're like, I don't really know what my category is. That's where you should be looking. Zwift.com, under your profile on the right-hand side, midway down, fitness, suggested category. Then it tells you your ZFTP and your ZMAP, and then your VO2 max.
Now you do need to do some math, because the Zwift categorization chart is based on watts per kg, and they give you your watts here. So you do have to do a bit of math.
So wait a minute. Yes. It's Zwift Power's 20-minute that WKG'd me. Yes. Or was it the ZFTP on Zwift.com?
Your ZFTP probably went over.
So I improved my FTP, my ZFTP. And that's why. So what if you
went so hard for 20 minutes, you triggered basically a new FTP.
Great. And the workaround is that it should be, I don't know how to, I know how you can game the system, but whatever.
Well, it'll take you 90 days. So basically, if you don't do a similar effort for 90 days, it will fall off.
This leads into my next thing. Is Zwift Power still useless?
Yes and no. It's fun to look at all that info.
Right.
It doesn't pertain really anymore to Zwift as much as we would like it to.
Right. So Mullins and I don't exist in the results. We're in the unfiltered. We've been filtered. We played parts in the race. So the people chasing us, people that were like Dave Gargiola and Ned Bowen. Ned obviously won and Dave got second in the bunch sprint.
Good job, Dave.
Yeah, great job. But he was like, this is a threat. We got to get together. We got to chase these guys down. They didn't chase us down. But here's the thing is they were using energy to chase us down. It worked out for them, but were there other people in the race that were using energy that then hurt their ability to sprint because they were chasing down two people off the front that now don't exist? That's what I'm saying. They should be together. We've said this. We've said this before. Zwift Power and Zwift.com should be together. Okay. What did I actually win? No, I did not win. Can you get bumped back down to lower categories with different outputs?
The part of the win thing that is also another problem is Echelon is not, I mean, they're putting a race on for the Zwift Nationals, but this race series is technically a U.S. national qualifying race series.
Oh, I have a note for that. It's not qualifying.
It's not qualifying now.
No. So let's touch on that because we got to get out of here. It's an hour in. But let me look at this. So they sent, hey, thanks for everyone for Echelon Racing League, blowing us, so on and so forth. But let's go here. I want to read this to everybody. Echelon number 1, race number 1. Okay. Where is it? Okay. For those seeking to race USA Cycling National Championships, completion of a race and meeting governance protocols for that race make you eligible for USA Cycling Nationals. We apologize if the word qualification has been confusion. A better term may be eligibility. So I'm eligible to race because I've completed the one race. I completed it. I just got filtered. I need to follow up on that. It's like, does that count as my eligibility? Like, I'm going to race the other ones, of course, but it's not qualification. It's eligibility. You need to race and finish to be eligible to race and compete in the nationals, the USA Nationals.
Makes sense. I mean, it's the same but different.
They acknowledge that qualification was confusing, right?
You're now eligible. You finished a race.
Yeah.
You're eligible.
Yeah. So
qualification lends to more of like Brian's going to be on the first row because he's the top qualifier, for this. No, it's like you are now eligible.
Yeah. All right, let's get these last couple out of here. We'll get out of here. So can I get bumped back down?
90 days, you certainly can.
90 days, I'll get bumped. So it's 90 days. Okay, great. If I decide, okay, we touched on this too. If I decided to break away just under 20 minutes out, would I still have been flagged? No. So I need to work on math while I'm in a race. I should have went.
Though? Are you sad that you're an A? Hesitated. You're really sad?
No, I'm not sad that I'm an A. I'm bummed that I'm bummed that it doesn't count as a win. I am. Like, I went hard.
Yes. I get on that.
Yeah. I don't care that I'm an A. It's more of like, I'm bummed that it tarnished the effort and the experience for the broadcast. One, because we're trying to promote this damn game and the sport, and we're trying not to be, this sort of like weird, like, why this dude just went and broke away and now he doesn't exist in the results. Did he cheat? It's like, now the question is he cheating? No, I'm not cheating.
You have a very good reputation.
Huh?
And now it kind of tarnishes the reputation, because now with Zwift Power, you're going to get all those people that you're going to scroll through your profile and be like, I knew it. I knew that guy.
For sure. Yeah, come at me. Don't make me a B in Zwift. I've said that on multiple.
Playing within the rules.
I went with what the damn thing says on my profile. I'm like, I want to raise B's. It's like when I show. Yeah, it's like teammate Eugene, he raced the P12s at the district road race. I raced the 45-49 because I wanted a race to compete for the Masters district jersey. He is in that. He's 40-44. He's like, I'm just going to race the P12. I'm like, okay, cool. Those are decisions. If I was in a regular race with him, I would race with him because there was no sort of incentive to race. I wanted to race in the Bs because I feel strongly, and these are some competitors that I'm probably going to be racing with in the thing, but we don't have that option. There's like, it's fitness based. It's not age based or results based, right? There's age and results in outdoor racing. Zwift has fitness based, and I was currently in the Bs, and my effort forced me into the A's, and it tarnished my sort of result. That's weird.
I think back in the day, I understand why they did it. And, they're just trying to lump everyone into categories to make it even and fair.
I get it.
In the long run, I think everyone has matured far enough or not matured far enough that indoor esports has been around long enough that people, we've outgrown those categories.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's maybe time to just see them go away.
I'm not upset about the result to like the 10th degree. Like I'm like flaming, burning up with my frustration. I do see it as, look, I didn't like ride away with like 5.6 watts per kilo for 20 minutes. I did like a really good time trial effort for myself. Like that would be where I'm trying to peak. And this is good leading towards something. It wasn't like some outlandish number that doesn't line up with who I am. That's where it's like weird. It's like, oh, they just like you said, people look like, oh, this MFer, oh yeah, I knew it for sure. Boom. Oh yeah, when the race really counts, you're doing these little throwaways, but when it really counts, you're a sandbagger. It's just like, fine.
Well, I think that's a culture within Zwift.
Yeah, totally.
And that culture has happened because of the categories. Everyone is constantly looking, to point fingers at other people who shouldn't be in the category. Oh, I'm legit. I should be in the C's. Should you?
Well, that's the what's his name? Rosendahl was like, oh, he's trying to keep his watts low. He's saying it in the race. He was saying like, oh yeah, he's trying to just keep his average low. So the other thing I feel bad is if Mullins didn't want to be upgraded, I apologize to Mullins for coming with me and making him.
It's his fault. He didn't do the math.
He didn't do the math. He's like, dude, this dude's going way too early. This guy's going
with a calculator going, oh gosh, I'm over. Exactly. I got to drop back to the pack.
All right, any questions left? Who else is in there? Anything before we get out of here?
The first time chat for Fezwheel.
Shit. All right, what does Fezwheel want? Nothing?
He's gone already.
Oh, all right. Goodbye, everybody. Play the music. And we're getting music finally. We're hiring beats.
He's gonna make us some beats.
He's gonna make us some beats or some music. But yeah.
Fez is still here.
Fez, I know Fez is there. Come on. He's eating his Weet-Bix right now. He's like, I gotta get on here. So Fez actually did Sticky Watts and got upgraded to A. See, he didn't have to do a 20-minute effort. He had to do 300 microbursts that he blames on me. Yeah. Oh, this is definitely blamed on me. See, I know how to do it both ways, Fez. All right, now we're doing a live show. All right, say goodbye. Play the music.
Everyone have a fantastic night.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Catch us next time. Hopefully we'll have Brian. Hopefully he feels better. You got any shout outs? Anything you learned, Lee?
I did a lot of research for this one, and I actually learned a ton. And I also didn't learn much because it's still super confusing.
It is.
Because it's such a convoluted mess that needs to be fixed. And it shocks me that Zwift Power, to go back into a rant, has been around since 2016, and it's still this messy.
Yeah, like I didn't disappear from the race. It just happened after the result. It'd be like winning the race, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we can't certify your results because you went too hard." That's seriously what that I would show up. I would win the race, like I would do whatever race around here locally. Be like, "Congratulations, you went too hard."
Sit all the winners at the end of the race in their chairs, and the guy goes through the clipboard and he's like, sorry, you're out. You win. Yeah. You're second.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there patiently for 20 minutes waiting for the last guy to finish before they give you your fact that you went over.
The other thing I was thinking about this too, because as a broadcaster, doing radio and all this stuff, I mean, we were going to get out of here, but I do want to wrap this up. It was so cool to watch the replay of Dave and Nathan calling the racing. And it's just oh, they're doing a breakaway and then we're staying away. The group's got to chase all these tactics. It's great to see on Zwift instead of just this blob, this swarm, to then everyone doing 100, all the red numbers. And then, oh yeah, who won? It was a clear defined winner. And it's, you went too hard, Brian. You went too hard. For 20 minutes, for over 20 minutes, you went too hard.
Congratulations.
Guess what I'm going to do? Guess what I'm going to do in 2 weeks?
Not
And the
go
next
hard,
race. And the next
you're
race.
Be in the A's,
I'm going to go as I'm going to go as hard as I can. And if I fall off the back and I'm last place, I'm still going to go as hard as I can.
Oh yeah.
Unless I shut it down because I'm just like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Get lapped.
So that's it. Race up, everybody. That's it. Everyone should be racing A's so you don't get the WKG. That's what everyone should do. If you just have a banger of a day and you're like, dude, I feel really good. My legs feel good. Just race A's. You can always race up. That's the lesson. That's what I learned. Hey guys, what did we learn? Race up. Like I've always said, race up. Why did I race down? Because I wanted to kind of
racing down.
I did.
Zwift told you to be in that category.
But I should have just raced up, right? I should have followed my own advice. No, I feel like I actually was questioning, like, am I getting older? And is this the downward swing?
Well,
is this the downward swing?
Last week, week, going from fast to like getting older.
I did get older last week. I did on Thursday. I got older. So, hey, I got older. So that's where I'm like, hey, is my power curve going down?
That exact point. Boom, older.
Yeah.
Power curve goes down.
Yeah, my birthday was Thursday. So yeah, that's why I got older on Thursday.
That's why you got slower.
I know. Race age 48 now, everyone. Race age 48. Goodbye. Play the music again.
Okay, for real this time.
For real. Goodbye.
Everyone, talk to you later.